Hi, hello everybody, welcome to today's video. Guys, today's the day. We have officially entered Halloween season, spooky season. As you can see, I'm sporting a new attire, no more plaid. We are the Great Pumpkin. We are embracing our ghost energy with my little hat here, right? As you can see, we're also just in a new environment, and that's because today is our first ever speed build. Yay! Honestly, I'm really excited for this because, you know, it's been a long time coming, and I'm excited to bring out my custom design of my nice Halloween outfit. So let's get started. Let me show you guys how I built this pretty nice little kidcore entrance for you. But while we do this, I do want to touch base on something. We're gonna get a little bit vulnerable here. We're gonna get a little bit uncomfortable, or maybe not, I don't know. For some people, this can be a touchy subject. For some people, it can also, you know, be like, yeah, totally. But I really want to touch base on this because I feel like it's not necessarily talked about, especially in the creator world. A lot of people, you know, make these extravagant speed builds, and I'm gonna be honest, I am a little bit nervous to be putting this out and to be talking about this because I originally wasn't going to. But I really felt a lot of intimidation these past few days. I felt a lot of anxiety, and I started to doubt myself. I thought, you know, I'm not creative enough, which I feel like is a really big thing in the Animal Crossing community. Now, as you can see, I'm outlining my little build here, but when I first went into it, I did not do that. And not saying that it's because I didn't outline that I felt like my build wasn't good enough, because I had originally already filmed this before, and that was about 3 hours of footage that I had thrown out and I'm redoing today, right? And it's not to say that my build wasn't good or that I didn't do enough for it, and I feel like that's the thing, is that people put in so much effort and they get super hyped up about these ideas that they have, and then when it doesn't come out the way that they want it to, especially when it's not, you know, photo-esque, it's not pretty enough for Twitter or Instagram, it's really easy to put yourself down for what you just did. And this is the build that I had done, and I'm not saying that it's bad. I think it's really colorful, I think it's really pretty, but at the same time, I did not like it. I felt like it wasn't necessarily me. After I built it, I just felt so discouraged, and especially with people coming back right now with a lot of burnout, they're coming back from burnout. I just feel as if this is a really important topic to touch upon, and I want to bring awareness to this and kind of show you guys that it's not always picture perfect, even for creators, right? Like, I am doing this right now. I outlined it a little bit, but I didn't know anything that I wanted to do for this besides that I wanted 2 buildings in the front, because I've been seeing a lot of pictures of people putting buildings at their entrances, and I loved that idea. And I obviously want a carousel, but that's about it. That's all that I had planned for this video, and even now my voice is a little bit shaky. I'm kind of rambling because it's nerve-wracking a little bit, you know what I mean? You want this to be good enough for people, and you want to inspire people, and I want you guys to feel like this is something that you can do as well. I really do. But I also want it to be something that I myself am happy with, and that's a little bit, you know, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because I'm putting myself out there, just like you guys who put this pressure on yourself that you want to be able to post your dream addresses and everything. I know that it can be extremely overwhelming sometimes, and I just want to remind you that this game is, you know, you take it one day at a time, and you just work with yourself and be kind to yourself, right? I'm totally winging this. I struggled a lot with this. I obviously am showing you a little bit of my struggles, but at the same time, there's a lot that I cut out. This was a 2.5 hour video that is now about 16 minutes, so you know, there's a lot that I'm not putting in, but at the same time, you know, like, I originally wasn't gonna do hearts. I didn't look it up. I totally just kind of winged that, and it looked like a boot for a second there, which is kind of funny, but I don't know, I worked with it, and obviously my resident services is really close to that, and I did not want that. It's a little bit of a struggle, and for a second there, I did have a little bit of a mental breakdown because I said, wow, okay, well, do I start over? Do I just completely wreck my entire build that I'm already filming again, and I've already been filming for like an hour and a half? It was just a lot for me, I think. But I think that's for a lot of people when I say that, where suddenly it's just not working out the way that you want to, and you just suddenly get super discouraged. You take everything down, and then you try to think of ideas. Nothing sounds appealing anymore because all of a sudden you're just like, well, that idea didn't work. And then next thing you know, you haven't touched the game for months. And right now that's a lot of people, and everybody's kind of surging back in. I know, because the updates are happening. So I thought that was the perfect time for me to talk about this and to share this with you, because I genuinely was freaking out. But it's okay, we're here and I'm working with it. Obviously, as you can see, I had to move everything down again because I wanted my carousel to be in the forefront. I wanted you to be able to see it from the entrance because obviously my island is called Carousel. So I wanted a carousel to be at the forefront, but you know what, it's fine. Obviously in the thumbnail you see that it wasn't. And then, so I'm gonna kind of point out things that were driving me a little bit crazy. So this is off center. So the reason why I'm telling you things that were driving me crazy is because I want to show you guys that I worked through them. And when you kind of push past that perfectionist part of yourself that thinks that everything needs to be perfect and picture perfect, and it needs, you know, to be this way that you have in your head, you can actually start to enjoy the game for what it is. And there's a lot of mistakes that I did with the carousel. See, I ended up moving it again. It's a really cramped little space, so I tried to move it a little bit more to the right, or to the left, I mean. I tried to move it to the left so that, you know, I had at least a little bit of room to put it next to, or for you to be able to walk to resident services from the entrance. It just was a lot, but you know, I start to put down the carousel and everything. By the way, I'm sorry I didn't show it right here. I promise I'm gonna show it in a little bit. I took it down and I had to redo it all again, so that's the reason why I skipped over it right here. But I just want to show you that sometimes it's just, you just gotta work with yourself, and sometimes you gotta, you know, it's like those videos where people do their makeup or somebody's building something and they're like, trust the process. And I feel like that's what people need to do with themselves. And we need to trust ourselves more, guys. We need to have faith in ourselves to come up with something good. Just give yourself a little leeway, okay? Because I know it can be really easy to just put it down and to be like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not creative enough. But in reality is that it's just, sometimes you need to test things out before it ends up working out in the end. And here I am. I wanted to illuminate the carousel a little bit more, so I did take out the path and I made it a little bit snowier on the inside because I thought that that looked better. Even still, when I watch this back, there's a million things that I could totally pick apart, and that, you know, it's really easy to want to do that, but I'm trying not to discourage myself right now, because at the end of the day, I think that it's really cute. I did the best that I could, and this is also the creator that I got the idea from. She's incredibly talented. She still posts on Reddit, so if you ever want some ideas, go check her out on there. And she also has her Instagram, I think, in the picture, so check her out right there and get some inspiration from people. But also remember that you are your own person. If you like simple builds, don't feel bad about that, guys. Not everything has to be this like tons of terraforming, tons of waterfalls and tons of items and all this kind of stuff. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. And I feel like there's a big pressure for people to want to do that because, you know, once again, there's all these dream address videos and everything, but do what makes you happy, do what makes you have fun. And you see right here, I've never done kidcore. I am so out of my element, but I am trying to get out of my comfort zone, and I thought that what better way to embrace that than to do some little things like this, where I'm putting some milk and cookies on the path, overlaying that, and bringing a little bit of festive vibes, which I do say myself is pretty creative. Kind of hyping myself up right now, which I think that you guys obviously should be doing as well. I mean, give yourself a little bit of leeway, guys, and I promise you it'll come together. And if you're struggling a little bit, you feel like you're not liking how it is, just add some layers. As you can see, I'm not doing anything necessarily spectacular. If anything, I'm gonna be honest, I really don't like the stone path. I totally have always downed on it. I just don't like the way that it looks for me. But I don't know, I'm working with it, and I ended up really liking it, and the stone path is growing on me a lot. I put some teddy bears around, and I'm just kind of bringing some coziness to it. Work with what makes you comfortable. For me, I really love builds and things that make me feel warm inside. That's why I like the holidays. I like fall, I like Christmas, because I like coziness, right? I like things that make me feel at home, and so I did do that. But at the same time, you know, I pushed myself out of my comfort zone, so I started adding things like the big festive tree and things like that that I knew made me feel I don't know, that were more in my element, but at the same time, I got myself out of my comfort zone. I stopped trying to be perfect the whole time, and I ended up really, really liking the outcome. And you never know, when you stop putting restrictions on yourself and you stop wanting it to be picture perfect and you stop comparing it to other people, I promise you, all of a sudden, all of these ideas start coming into your head. The little voice in your head grows dimmer and you start to embrace yourself a little bit. And if not, that's fine. It's a lot of work to fight against that part of yourself that really wants to tell you that it's not good enough. I assure you, especially when you're looking at other people's builds after you've built yours and you're like, wow, I should have done that instead. But you just remember that you're doing the best that you can. Also, sorry, my voice cracked. And you just kind of, like I said, just give yourself a little leeway, and you can always tweak it. You can always change it. Like, for example, in this build, you'll notice that there are no flowers around by the end, and watching this back, I'm like, oh, it's really missing some of that nature aspect. But because, but I've never done anything like this before. I've never been this creative or let myself be this free about the game. I'm usually always doing normcore, which, not to say that I don't like normcore, I actually really love normcore. I think that people do some really cute things with it, but at the same time, I just wanted to do a little something different, get outside my comfort zone, and for that, I missed a few little things. It was really funny because I moved that little cedar tree over there by Nook's Cranny because it had the twinkling lights on it, and then I put it down and the twinkling lights just vanished, but that's fine. We are just doing a little bit of layering. You're just taking it one step at a time. I'm gonna keep saying that. I know this is getting a little bit repetitive, but I just really want to share this with you guys, and I really want to show you this vulnerable side of me, which is a little bit difficult because it's really nerve-wracking to admit that I felt this way as a creator, and that I don't know, it's just something that I feel like is just, once again, not talked about enough. Especially, I see it on Twitter and stuff, but not really in the YouTube community. So I don't know, but and there's obviously little mistakes that I made. As you can see, I took away the one, what is this called? I don't remember what this is called, the stand. I took away the one stand with the back wheels on it, so please do not drive on my bus on my island. This you're either gonna crash or you're just not gonna go anywhere, so but that's fine. If you guys are curious, and I also just wanted to show you a little bit of how I just kind of ran through things, my layout and everything, but if you guys are curious on how you do little buses and you do little, I don't know, trains, people do all that kind of stuff. The way that they do the top of it is they make a stall of some sort of color and then they just put it behind there, and then look it, voila. Not one thing about Animal Crossing is I think that people want everything to look good from all angles, and they want things to look, once again, picture perfect. But Animal Crossing is the kind of game where you really have to work with what you have, and I was struggling to take pictures for my thumbnail because I wanted you to see the carousel in the back, but the bus did not look good from a different angle. As you can see, you can see the separation from the stall to my bus, but that's fine. Honestly, I'm still happy with it. You get the idea, right? Nobody's judging me for that because we all do it. You just have to remember that everybody's working with the same stuff that you are. Everybody has the same things, it's a process. And that's the whole thing about Animal Crossing is that, that's what it is. It's just a process that you really have to be patient with, and then it comes together. And as you can see here, I just take some little things like cherries. If you don't have any extravagant items, like where you don't want to time travel, I personally time traveled for all of the Christmas stuff and all that, but if you don't want to do that, then you don't have to. Don't feel pressured to do different things. You can still decorate with some of the most mundane things, the most everyday things. Like I said, I just put cherries around, just layering it out, and use custom designs, use food items, I don't know, just play around with it and put it down there. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And if it works, it works. And you'll feel so much happier with it because, you're not putting yourself down for it. You're just kind of like, oh, okay. But this is the build, and I hope that this honestly just helped you out a little bit. Me getting triggered over that tree. That apple tree did not grow. I time traveled about a week and it still hadn't grown, so I had to grab one for my mom. It was really funny actually, but you know, there's a lot of things that I still can look at this and I could still pick at it, but why would I do that, right? I can fix some things later. It's not a big deal. So I really hope that this inspired you. I know we got a little bit deep today, but if you like this video and if you want to stick around and, you know, just be a little family, we can do that. But I will see you guys on the next one. I hope you all have a great day. Bye, guys.